This is going to be the first episode of the Candid podcast that hopefully we're gonna keep consistent and actually go through with this whole thing. So hopefully this is the first episode of many. And on this episode, I have a very special guest. I have Mohab.
Hello, guys. Hello.
Okay, so just a little quick heads up on this podcast. We're not going to be doing any cuts. It's going to be very raw, which is kind of why we're going for the name Candid Podcast. But I just want no cuts. Just straight up speak your mind and go with the flow. So I'm actually going to be interviewing Mohab because I want him to co-host this podcast. So I'll interview him just so you guys can get to know him a little bit. So let's just get right into it, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So the first question that I'm gonna ask you is kind of very straightforward, but who are you? Who are you?
Ooh. Ooh. Like you can either take this as a deep question or just like a
However you want to take
which
it.
which way are you going for?
However you want to take it.
Well, I'm an individual that lives in this nice generation that I believe is going nowhere because because from what I'm seeing, it doesn't look prominent for the people our age, but yeah, I'm a because that's such a like a hard question because like I could say I'm a person. No, no, I'm not like it's not even a joke. Like it's because like who are you? You know?
Yeah.
I think you find yourself at a certain point in your life, and I don't think I did that yet because I'm like what 17, and there's still like a lot of things I'm gonna go through that's gonna build my character. Like I've already been through so much, but I believe that there is more to come, you know?
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
And right now all I can tell you is I'm Mohab, I'm 17, I'm crippled kind of. And I just want to leave my house.
Oh, quarantine. What do you think about this whole COVID-19 thing?
uh, Honestly, I don't know anymore because I'm kind of a skeptical person because I don't really trust the media that much because like you can control
Very
whatever
understandable.
is, yeah, like I can, if I'm a trusted media source, if I wanna spread something, I'm just gonna say, oh, this and that, and it might be like completely made up, you know,
I get you.
just like I'm pretty sure a lot of stuff is like covered up from a lot of countries, and not everything that happens or not everything that we should know is out to the public. So I genuinely don't know.
So I don't know. I feel like the way we perceive things has kind of changed a bit, right? Because everyone had everyone has a view on the world, and everyone treats the people around him and materialistic objects and stuff like that differently. We all have our different values and stuff, but I think all of that changed due to this global pandemic that's going down. Everyone is. I feel like I don't know. I don't want to say it's kind of good in a way, like, because it obviously isn't. People are fucking dying, right? Um, and it's horrible, and the economy's fucked, but the I think I feel like people morally have kind of gotten like a little better because we kind of understand now that everything really is temporary. Like nothing actually lasts. Um, so I feel like I don't know. People are kind of like experiencing something new. Because
Yeah,
when
I
when was the
agree.
last time this happened? Like
It was like what 100 years ago?
Yeah, some shit like that. Like what,
Yeah,
1913, 1914, if I'm not wrong, I think.
20, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, something around there. Like
Yeah.
so it's crazy. It's crazy. We're experiencing like this year has been a shit show. 2020 is something else, man. It's something else.
But I always try to maintain a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Like even throughout all what we've experienced in the past 6 months now, um,
Mm.
I'm still optimistic of what's yet to come. Like it's a normal phase because like I don't think life is all about like the nice stuff. Like there always has to be something bad
Yeah.
and it's for a reason.
I feel like
But
if nothing bad happened, you wouldn't learn. You know, what I mean, you
yeah,
have to fail
exactly.
to learn.
And it just what happened now just shows you how unequipped we
Yeah.
are, or yeah, it's just
That's
we're
very
like
true.
the countries are like struggling.
That's very true. That's very true. I feel like because I don't know. It's kind of you wouldn't imagine like in this day and age of like technology and shit like that an outbreak like of this grand size would happen. Like you would think that the countries would be like more well prepared, but like no, like it was very unexpected. Even though like um they're like because part of the reason it's called COVID-19 is because it was discovered in 2019. I think if I'm not wrong, it was discovered in September of 2019, and this virus
Yeah.
isn't the first time. It's not the first time the virus shows up, but I feel like it's kind of crazy how none of us knew anything about the virus before it started spreading like crazy, and I feel like countries should kind of provide the people with information about stuff like that, because I don't know, because I feel like ever since the outbreak, people care more about their health and like staying,
Personal hygiene.
yeah, and their personal hygiene and just making sure that you know like they avoid contact with other people. So I feel like if maybe people were told earlier and countries took a little took up a little more responsibility to um be well prepared for this sort of thing, I feel like it wouldn't be as big as it is right now.
Well, I believe that the CDC has done a pretty good job with informing people of enough information about how to uh maintain uh, a protective environment on what's it called, and how to improve personal hygiene so you don't catch the virus.
Hmm.
And when I said earlier like unequipped, I meant like hospitals and staff
Yeah, yeah,
and like that because they've kind of done a good job by the idea of like making people stay at home because what's it called? Um, what's it called? Because I think that's what's important at the moment because there's no antivirus, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, we kind
people
of we
people
yeah
people should
yeah
people should
you
focus more on
mm.
staying home
Yeah, stay home,
at
you.
this point.
Yeah, we kind of went off on a tangent. I mean, that's a pretty wide topic. I feel like that should be left for another time. Anyway, back to you. All right, back to
Yes,
you.
sir.
I'll give you the nice second question here. What drives you as a person? What do you feel like is your biggest motivator to keep going? Keep pushing.
Other than my parents, because I always want to make my parents proud because they've done so much for me,
Respect.
like ever since I came out of the womb. But there was this thing. Okay, this might sound funny, but like, do you know Matthew McConaughey's acceptance speech in 2000 and what 14
I think
for
so.
for I don't remember the movie's name, but he played a guy who had AIDS. I forgot the movie, but anyways, he said in his acceptance speech, um, they're like, um, who's your idol, or who keeps you going?
Mhm.
And it's like he said you chase yourself 10 years in the future. Like you chase that version of yourself.
Ooh.
You expect that what's it called? That this is the best version of yourself. But as you go, like he was like 10 years passed, and the same person asked me, "Did you get that person?" I was like, "No, he's still 10 years into the
You
future."
still look into the
So I,
future. That's
yeah,
interesting.
so it's like you always try to improve yourself because you're never the best version of you. You know, there's still more
Room for
what's it
improvement.
called? Yeah, room for improvement.
Yeah.
So I believe, yeah, it's just my drive is as I told you, my parents, and just to see the best version of me.
That's interesting. I never really like, looked at it that way. Like I always felt like um, you know, what drives you could be something like, I don't know, like a certain goal, but I never thought that the certain goal, would be you. Like that's kind of an interesting ideology that like you're looking at yourself in the future um and like trying to reach that. I don't know, but don't you think it's a bit hard to like pinpoint what you want to be in 10 years? Because like to be honest, Hugh, I don't know what I want to be in 2 years, let alone 10 years. You know what I mean? Like I've like I feel like it's really hard in this day and age to like actually decide, like the road you want to go down.
Well, for me, I'm kind of I don't know. I can't go uh I can't like go through my day or my week or whatever without having my my day-to-day stuff planned.
Mhm.
Like not like what's it called, playing or going out or whatever. It's just I need, if I'm doing multiple stuff, if I have multiple tasks in hand, it has to be planned, because if it's not, I feel like it's very messy and very like all over the place. So that's why it's kind of easier for me, even though I don't see a clear vision,
Mhm.
but I always try to focus on my mistakes and and find a way to overcome them and just improve on on my personality or on my education or whatever. Like I understand your point,
Yeah.
and and I used to think that too, but until I reached a certain mindset where it's, if I want to improve and if I want to change myself or change something in myself, I have to look at things differently,
Mhm.
you know?
But when you said like you make a plan, like do you do like a written plan? Like do you write a plan on paper, like
Uh,
on your phone, mental notes? What?
I believe mental notes are better because personally I have a very bad memory, and you know that.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're struggling, both of us.
yeah, but like other than, I don't really rely on written stuff or like a list or something, because I know like in a bit or in a while I won't need it, because it's better off to like memorize things.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's like a thing in me because I can't use Google Maps as well. I can't use any. Yeah, like if I'm going somewhere, if I'm with my parents, if any, or like with my brother, if anyone pulls out their phone just to go somewhere, I get really irritated, because what, you've been driving for how long and you can't memorize the road, you
But
know?
I
So
mean, you
it's
can't
just
like. I don't know. I feel like you. I don't feel like that's really fair because like there's. I
yeah,
don't
yeah, I know,
know.
I know, but like it's just something in me. That's why I said, because
Like
like.
it's kind of fun. It's kind of up. Like all like it's like, yeah, like that man. I just can't remember the way, man.
Because here's the thing, it's like Like my friends, they pick me up if we're going out, and what we go out like 3 times a week, مثلا.
Mm.
Okay, and that was in summer, so 3 times a week for 4 weeks. Okay, that's 12 times. You passed by my house 12 times driving. It's from the same place, okay, or from similar places.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like,
then I feel like that's kind of a
you
struggle.
know, Mom, I'm saying you've been driving for so long, and you can't.
Well,
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
just
know,
something in me.
but like, don't you feel like because this technology is made available to us, like, shouldn't we just like shouldn't we use it? Like, I feel like if it's made available, you know what I mean? Like, why not use it? Like, life has been made easier for you.
Well, I believe if you rely on that too much, you're just gonna go like fully, because your brain is just like you're not gonna use that mental capacity you have to analyze and work out stuff.
Hmm.
You're not using your brain, and after a while, when you're put in a situation where you don't have that uh, certain type of technology that's supposed to help you, you're just gonna be like, oh, damn, I can't do anything
Hmm.
because like I haven't been relying on myself. I've been relying on something else. So I
Okay,
believe you just yeah.
I get you. All right. I'll ask you another question here. This one's kind of
Go for
this one's a nice one. What is a friendship to you?
what's a friendship to me?
Hmm.
Well, first of all, uh, having each other's back, because uh, like a friend is someone you have fun with and you trust, but it's also someone you can lean on. It's also someone you can go to in your difficult times, you know? Um, Friendship is all about uh, trust, loyalty, uh, being able to be fully with each other without it being a problem, you know? Just like losing brain cells together and it's just fine. It's I don't know. Like a friendship is I believe most of my friendships just evolved into being like, oh, they're just like my brothers and sisters. That's how I value a good friendship.
Mm.
Like anyone else outside of that, um, what do I say? I think spectrum lies, but like I don't really consider people who I can't depend on or I don't have fun with, or it's not that I don't have fun with, but it's just they're not there that much, but we're like quote unquote friends. I just count them as acquaintances.
Yeah, I feel like um, I agree with you a lot. Like if like someone who you have fun with and just have fun with, you know, I don't really feel like that's like a your genuine friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
true.
like, I don't know. Like, how do you how do you feel about friendships in this day and age? Because I feel like people are the word friend has become very weightless. I feel like you know what I mean. Like you'll speak to someone once and oh, he's my friend. Like I don't know. What do you think?
Before I get into that, I'll tell you a story that what's it called? That literally just it not explains, just has the phrase you said right in it. It's the moral of the story itself. So it was a couple of years back. I don't think I've told a couple of years back. I think I was like what? I was like 10 or something. Okay.
This is a while ago.
Yeah, it's like 7 years ago. And at the time, we were really good friends with this family. Okay, and two of them we considered like close friends. Turned out to be like big fakes, but that's not the goal of what I'm going for. But like we were at the beach in Alex, and they were close. They invited us over, and it was in an what's it called apartment building, like next to the beach.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we went upstairs. Our parents chilled together, and then the boys were like, "Oh, let's go down. We'll play football." Okay,
All right.
so we went downstairs. Their what's it called? Their neighbor even joined. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
two of them. We played, and suddenly I was chilling with the neighbors.
All
Okay,
right.
and my brother and two of our friends went up without telling us, without telling me anything. I think they called me, but I didn't hear them. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and I was really interested in these two guys because what's it called? Uh,
Eh, eh,
I had, yeah.
interested?
No, no, no. Hey, hey, hey. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, no, no. Like I was having too much fun because at the time I just bought the PSP
Oh. Which
and
model?
they
Which model?
had. I genuinely don't remember, but I remember that they had the Vita. No, no,
Oh.
no, not the Vita, not the Vita. The one the what's it called? The one where you like push the screen up. I don't remember the
Yeah,
name.
I know what you mean. Like the one with like the sliding screen that you push
Yes,
up with your
yes,
thumbs.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
I
And we
actually,
were playing
yeah,
GTA,
yeah,
and I was like, bro, 'cause I already had GTA, but I don't remember which GTA they had. But like at the time, I was I had gotten the PlayStation 2. I'd had the PlayStation 2 and my PSP. So seeing these guys playing with it, I was like, oh guys, let me join. مش عارف إيه الكلام ده. My brother and our friends went up to the apartment, and I stayed with these two guys, and they invited me over to their house. They're like, keep in mind, they're two complete strangers.
yeah.
تمام?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, sure. I went in, like they had the big family. I didn't know anyone, and I don't think like our friends even knew these neighbors, like their parents and stuff. And apparently, my family had been looking for me for like 30 minutes or an hour.
Uh-huh.
And luckily, because I was sitting in these guys' apartment in the balcony, I was able to hear my parents call my name, like really. So
Oh.
I went up to them. And they were like, "Where were you? Where were you?" I was like, "Oh, I was chilling with my friend."
Uh-huh.
And just me saying that got me grounded for 2 weeks. Chilling with my friend. Like, what friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moral of the story, not everyone is your
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to tell you the story, like, because you reminded me of it. Because if we finished this podcast and I didn't tell you that, I was definitely gonna forget it. But
So
you're
you
right
you
on
pretty
the
much
point.
almost got abducted as a child.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Like lucky
literally,
for
my
you, like that's actually like, that's like a yikes moment right there cuz like you were gone
yeah.
if those were the wrong type of people. Like you were gone, man. I'm sorry to
I
inform you.
only real no, no, I only realized that when like I was older, cause I didn't see the problem
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
I was like,
obviously. You were probably confused as hell when your parents were like, "Oh, you're grounded for 2 weeks." You're like, "What am I grounded for, bro? I'm just chilling with my homeboy." And
yeah,
you,
exactly.
you were like, a couple years later, you're like, I could have died.
They could have stole my kidney.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so
Kids
weird.
on my cheese pizza.
Get so much cheese pizza. Um.
uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, friendship in look. Here's the thing. My parents told me this thing, and whenever I go to my parents for advice, I know they're right, even if I don't understand it now. I'm pretty sure I'll understand it later, or I'll see where they're coming from later on. Uh, they told me in the end, you're gonna only have uh, just a couple of true friends.
Yeah.
Okay, You're gonna meet a lot of people in your life, but by the end, it's like as you're going through life, you're going through a filter.
Yeah, you're
You
going
meet a
through
lot of
people.
people, yeah, and you know a lot of people like what you have, how many followers do you have on your Twitter, مثلا, or
Yikes.
Instagram, or yeah, and how many of those do you know,
Yeah.
okay? And how many of those are you close with,
Hmm.
you know? And how many of
Do
those,
you trust? How many of those
yeah,
do you speak to? Yeah, I get you.
exactly. But as you go through life and like what's it called? You change schools, you go to uni, now you start work, you're gonna get married, this and that. As you go through these phases of life, you go through a filter. And by the end, you only have two or three true friends.
Yeah. Cause
And
yeah, sorry.
yeah, continue.
No, I was just gonna say, cause like in the age we're in right now, like I felt like I was like, I was starting to like, really get a contrast on people, and like who my friends are and stuff like that. And then I realized that this isn't the first time that I'm gonna go through this, or I mean, this won't be the only time. This won't be the only time. Excuse me. This won't be the only time that I'll go through this. Like, um, like this will probably happen because right, we're in high school. This will probably happen again after uni, right? Like you'll make friends in uni and stuff, and then probably you'll come out of uni with like one or two friends. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like the probability of you staying friends with anyone you're friends with in high school is like very very low because bonds are very easily broken by distance. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I
well, I
agree.
just
I agree with the fact that um you will come out with like one or two like true friends cuz like I don't know. Life is hard.
um yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I completely agree as well. Like friendship now, honestly, I haven't been through a lot of bad friendships. Like I've known a couple bad people that have affected me in a certain way in life, and I honestly don't regret meeting them because it changed me to a better me, a less naive me, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Am I one of those people?
شكلك كده مش عارف. No. But like friendship at this age is hard to measure as well, because like some people really have nice and true intentions, while other just like are friends with you just for a certain thing. Uh, مصلحة,
Yeah,
مصلحة
yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah. People who are with you
So
for a certain reason or a
yeah,
certain gain.
yeah, yeah. So it's just depends on the person, really.
Yeah.
It really depends on the person, because you can't just pinpoint something, and that's friendship as a whole, no, because every person is different than the other, and a lot of people are raised differently, you know.
Yeah, 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 I get
So
you.
their values and morals are different than anyone else, and the way they treat people is different, you know.
Yeah. Do you well, speaking of like high school and friends and do you what do you think about school? Like do you think that the schooling system like right now is actually useful?
Hell no,
Why do you
hell
say
no.
so? Why do you say?
The system is made for you to fail. Like it doesn't help the students elevate, you know. It doesn't. I believe that what's it called? Like if you make a mistake in 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 our current education system, or if you fail,
You're
you're not. yeah, because you don't get the help that you need. Teachers focus on the people who are good, people who get good grades. They focus on them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they focus less on people who are what's it called, who are failing. That's why a lot of them just lose hope at certain point, and at a certain point, and they're just like, خلاص, يعني screw it. It's not gonna matter, you know?
And what do you think is the main impact on how students do in school?
Well, main impact is, I think main impact comes from home,
Yeah.
and it also comes from the people you surround yourself with. Cause if you're with people who only care about going out, doing this and that, playing this new game, going
Me.
out on a school, yeah, going out on a school night, and and people who are careless, you're not gonna be motivated to do anything. You're just gonna be motivated to join them and and have fun like they are, you know.
Hmm.
That's one aspect. If you're friends with people who want to see you succeed, who are helping each other and pushing each other forward to just, yeah, as I said before, a better version of themselves, it's that's a better option, you know. And at home, if because I've met a lot of careless parents when it comes to their kids' education. They're like, oh, خليه, just let him be. He's old enough to know what's up. Some kids actually need uh, a smack on their
On their
ass, just to,
badonkadonk. Yeah.
yeah, just to know they need to what's it called, to do this
Straighten up.
differently, or to, yeah,
I get you.
and yeah, yeah,
I get you. Yeah, I feel like actually, yeah, I agree with the fact that the main impact on how a student does in school is parents, because you like I don't. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to measure just because there are students who do well and like really went well in school because their parents pressure them so much and like might even like threaten them. You know what I mean? That if you don't do well, this or that is gonna happen. And I mean, and at the same time, there are like students who do well in school and it's because their parents are really supportive and they provide them with what they need and stuff like that. So I feel like the main impact on how a student does in school is actually at home, but I feel like parents aren't doing it right, man. Like I don't know, like
not at all.
I feel like it's like cuz this generation of parents or the newer generation of parents, I'd like to say, are really failing to comprehend the idea that because we are a new generation, we struggle differently and
Yeah,
we have trouble with different things than they used to have because before, right, they had no distractions, you know what I mean? Like they grew up with pretty much like a very small amount of distractions. So when you're growing up, like your sole main focus is school, right? And you don't like really meet people outside of school. And that kind of like forces you in a way to make sure that you're doing well in school, right? But in this day and age where you have the possibility to meet new people and do different things all the time and just the fact that the internet exists, right? It's such a big distraction from education and how well I need to do in school to set up a good future for myself. So I feel like parents fail to recognize the fact that they actually need to help their kids understand or um no help their kids in a way that is suitable for their generation. I
you
don't
could
know if
just
I'm
call
del
them
yeah, I don't
old fashioned, old-fashioned, you know? The
I
parents
don't
are
know, but
old-fashioned
like
in a
there's a
way.
lot of old-fashioned people who deal well with that. Because just because you're old-fashioned doesn't mean you can't adapt. You know what I mean? Like, for example, my parents are very old-fashioned, right? But they learn to adapt to me and my sibling. To the way our needs, right? And the way we deal with things. And I feel like that's something that really helped me. What's it called? Growing up is that they adapted well to my needs. You know what I mean? They didn't stick to being old fashioned, and they were open minded in the place or in the area where they needed to be open minded in. Because if if parents stick to their old regimen and their old routine without trying to adapt to their children and the new generation, like there's just gonna be no truce between the children and the parents. You know what I mean? Like there'll be no understanding. Um, they won't come to terms on anything. They won't agree. So I feel like a lot of the rebellious kids or whatever, um, the main reason of their rebellion um is because of the parents not being able to accept them for who they are. You know what I mean?
That just all means that it's all about the mentality. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that, like they have different ways of dealing, because you can have different ways of dealing with stuff, but still have an open-minded mentality, as you said.
Hmm.
So and also about what's it called? Parents who pressure their kids. What's it called? I believe this is the worst type, even though it sometimes brings or gives out good
No, it
results.
gives
It's
good results. Like
but
the child
yep,
will get good grades, but it just like their mentality up.
it like breaks them in so many ways, and it makes them like very unprepared to go out into the real world, because if you don't get enough social interaction
Yeah.
with different people and do what's it called, a lot of stuff at this age, especially at this age, later on they're just gonna be, what's it called, like helpless. They have a skill, yeah, but they won't. It's gonna be harder for them to
You,
cope
yeah,
with
yeah.
being in a certain environment, you know?
That's why you'll see a lot of people who didn't do well in school can thrive later on in their life just because they're very sociable.
School isn't for everyone. Like
Yeah.
like and what's it called? Like it's been proven many times that school isn't for everyone. Like what's it called? David Dobrik. He what's it called? He what's it called? He stopped going to school at some point. He didn't go to college, and look at him now, making,
Yeah.
what's it called, millions.
And like people like Jake Paul and like, but it's great. Like speaking of the Paul brothers, the contrast between them is actually crazy because um Jake Paul, right?
Yeah,
He didn't finish college, I think. I don't know if he graduated from high school. I think he graduated from high school and didn't finish college. Um and like look at him. Look at how successful he is. And like someone like Logan Paul who was like a bookworm, you know what I mean? And was like going I think into like engineering or something like that. And
yeah,
and
but he dropped out like
and he
at
dropped out.
second year.
He dropped out and decided to follow his dream. And someone like Pokimane, for example, she was going into I think bioengineering or yeah, another sort of engineering, and she decided to drop out as well to pursue her dreams. And I feel like um, technology really opens up doors for people who um, are doing well in school and people who aren't doing well in school.
It like, I believe, I don't think the what's it called, the internet is for everyone, or uh being an online gamer, or what's it called, or a Twitch streamer or a YouTube. I don't think it's for everyone. It's for people who have a certain talent, or people who can easily share their artistic view
Mhm.
with others without it being cringy or too much, or
Mhm.
And personally, I don't like Jake Paul. Like he had a good start, but I don't really.
I just don't feel like the content is for our age.
It's not that it's for our age. Like I what's it called? I
Are you
watched
talking
him
about
as
him as a
well.
person or his content?
Both. He's a very motivated person, and he's very smart on like in what he's doing. Um, but I don't believe his stuff is really that good, or 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 I don't think it should be at that level that it is on right now.
But
You
I
know?
don't know. I don't really like that. I feel like I don't know, because I feel like that's kind of like borderline hating on his
Oh
success.
no no no! I'm not hating on his success. Like I'm telling you, he's doing good, and he's smart,
Yeah, but like
uh,
you can't say that his content doesn't deserve to be where it is, because he obviously you don't become successful without working your ass off. So he obviously worked his ass off to get to where
maybe
he
I
is
should
now.
phrase this differently.
Yeah,
Maybe I
like
should
try
phrase
try
this differently.
rephrasing that.
Yeah. Personally, I don't like his content. Like I don't find it uh
Amusing.
that amusing to me, honestly. Like he had some nice uh like what's it called? Internet moments or YouTube moments, but
Mm.
I find him really cringy and tacky and just
Yeah, but like back to my point. Then
yeah
again, like his
yeah
content isn't really directed at us or like
yeah
at people
yeah
who are
true.
are really above the age of like 14. You know what I mean? Like I feel like his content is very child based, and like I think he even like said that that his videos are not directed at people who are older. So like if you don't like it, just don't watch it.
I think
But
he took a shift lately.
yeah,
Like
both of them
yeah
actually. Like, have you seen Logan Paul's content as of recently?
yeah
I'm really enjoying his new content. Like, I feel like he's become like more mature in a way, and I feel like he's not
yeah.
forcing it anymore. You know?
That's a nice way to put it, because I also believe that Jake Paul is kind of forcing his content.
Hmm.
Like like that's why maybe I don't like how he's putting it out there. But like Logan has really changed recently.
But I
Uh,
don't think he's changed. I think he's just become more comfortable with just being himself on camera.
yeah, that's what I was going for. But yeah,
Anyway, like apparently we went from school
cool
to
to
the
Logan.
Logan Paul and
Yeah,
Jake Paul. But yeah, anyway, to the last question that I'm gonna ask you is, what is your end goal in life? I
cool.
feel like this one's kind of a spicy question, just to end it off.
What's my end goal in life?
Yeah.
Well, I want a successful career, a career that I'm gonna be proud of.
Okay, before we keep
Uh,
going, because
yeah,
what do you mean by a successful career? Like, what is success to you?
I want to feel like my work or my job has made a difference in 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 the area that I'll be working in. Because I'm gonna pursue an area in biomedical technology,
Mhm.
and I don't know if I'm gonna end up teaching it as a professor later on, because that's an option I had in mind.
Mhm.
Because I really like teaching, and I really like what's it called, like public speaking
Uh huh.
as a thing. So I was like, uh, I should really take advantage of that aspect in me and do something I'd enjoy. I know I'd enjoy.
Mhm.
So I really don't know if I'm gonna take which road. Maybe both. like starting with this and ending with that, or the other way around. But I want to feel like my work and in that area made a difference, inspired someone,
Hmm.
um, uh, found something new, discovered something that what's it called? That's gonna make a difference, you know?
Yeah, listen,
Like
I'm calling it 20. No, no, no. I'm calling it. Listen, 15 years from now, all right, Mohab, all right, discovers something new in biochemical,
biomedical,
biomedical
biomedical.
biomedical engineering, right? And you gonna get real known. All right, I'm speaking this into existence. All right, you gonna get real known. All right, you're gonna make cash. All right, you're gonna make cash off it. All right. Anyway, you can keep going. Yeah,
Thanks, first of all. And secondly, I don't like cash is not my driving
cash is
force, honestly,
mine.
or
Cash is definitely mine.
like of course I wouldn't mind it. Like who wouldn't,
Who
you know?
would? Yeah,
Yeah. But like it's not my main motivation.
I
But
respect that.
but yeah, cash would be nice. Like, you know, I'm a watch enthusiast,
Yeah.
and watches aren't that cheap, so I need something to buy them with. So yeah, cash too. Uh, End goal. Uh, uh, Big, nice, happy family that isn't dysfunctional in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I want to have kids that are proud of me and I'm proud of them. And
that's nice.
yeah, and I just want to make sure I did my best in raising them and and planting the right values and morals in them, uh, as they what's it called, as they grow older, you know, because that's the stuff that you're gonna leave down for the next generation, or like, do you get
Pass
me?
on to.
Yeah, pass on to the next gen.
Yeah, I get you.
Tells I wanna I wanna get closer to God, because as I said, there's always room for improvement, and I always believe that there's also room for in that area, because I believe in in our current time, people are very distant from God,
Hmm.
even if they're even if, like, what's it called? You pray 5 prayers a day, or like even fast Ramadan. That's not enough. You know, there are some other stuff, like
Yeah.
other extra stuff that we in in today's society see as
Yeah,
too much.
yeah. I
Like
feel like
people, yeah,
Muslim. No, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like um Muslims this day and age are satisfied with the bare minimum of work, or bare minimum of um what's it called? Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Belief? Bare minimum of belief? I don't know.
could work that way. But yeah, it's just it all depends on how they're raised, because you know, if you plant an idea in a kid's head, especially at a young age, or if you teach a kid a skill, sport, whatever, at a young age, it's gonna be better than doing that as an adult. Because if anything is worked on and improved and developed at a young age, it's just gonna remain at the same level, or just uh, improve and increase. Because I don't know, there's the saying, ال- التعليم في الصغر كالنقش على الحجر،
Yeah, yeah.
or على
قنقش
الحجر.
الحجر.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
كالنقش على الحجر. Yeah, and that's something that I believe in. Because um, for example, for me, I think it's, other than certain values and morals that my parents worked on me as a kid, like a certain skill, for instance, swimming. Like what's it called? I was introduced to swimming at a young age, and look at me now. Like I've seen my siblings because they started doing sports a little bit older than we were, me and my brother and I,
Mhm.
and and they're kind of struggling, honestly. Like, no, uh, but like I believe that it was a very nice advantage to start because I started what like 5 years. Like I
No.
was working on my swimming at 5 years. Like I've been what swimming for 12 years now.
Mhm.
So even if I grow older, that's something that's gonna like stick in the back of my head.
See, I think I wish that I was like able to keep that mentality, but the thing is, all right, my dumbass self, I cannot continue doing something that um that I'm obliged to do. Like for example, I used to swim also, and I also started at like 4 or 5 years old, and I swam until I was like 12. I don't know, 12, 10, something around that, right? But I couldn't. I just could not continue. I did not enjoy it, and I took breaks in the middle. Why? Because my parents like um I don't want to say forced me, but pressured me a lot and to to continue. You know what I mean? And I'm the kind of person that like if you're telling me to do something and I don't like I'm not convinced, I will not do it. Like I just, I will not do it. So, I felt like maybe if I don't know. I don't know. Cuz like yeah, I just felt like the cuz you said right parents they can activate their children, by making them do sports at a young age and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like it could also really not work because it didn't work with me because like I felt like with my mentality and my personality, I guess I felt like just because I was being told that swimming is good for you, trust me, you need to swim, right? I was like, nah, 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 I'm not convinced, and I just didn't stopped enjoying it, stopped doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, for me, like I understand your point because you're not the only person that like suffered from that problem. I'd say suffer, but like
So you're saying I'm struggling?
in a way, yeah. Like if I throw you in a pool, you're gonna drown,
No, I'm
kind
actually
of
a
way.
good swimmer. I'm a good swimmer. I'm a good
I
swimmer.
know.
I'm like a fish in the ocean.
I like a small fish. I'm like a
Come on,
shark.
man.
If
Nah,
you compare, okay.
I'm like at least bulty. At least.
You're like a sardine at
what
best.
do you mean?
Okay. But like back to the idea or the concept of like not pressure, but like at a certain point, I had the same mentality, and I was too like I felt I was too obliged to go and swim, and because I had swimming every single day for 2 hours,
Ugh.
you know, and at a certain
Swimming is
point
such a
I didn't.
repetitive sport as well. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's very boring.
at a certain point I didn't really recognize the benefits,
Uh-huh.
or I really didn't understand. And if it wasn't for my parents pressuring me into staying uh, with my swimming team, or like continuing, I wouldn't have been where I've been right now. Like
I
I
get you.
wouldn't have improved in physically, mentally, and like when I left Egypt and came here, and I was in you wouldn't understand
When you were in
how
what?
easy it was when I was in Egypt,
Uh-huh.
and because that's where I started my training,
Yeah.
and then we came here, yeah,
Yeah.
and here the swimming federation was started up in 2008 or something like that. It was started up late,
Uh-huh.
but like I kind of came where it was starting, kind of in a way,
Mhm.
and and if it wasn't for that phase of me in Egypt, I would have struggled here. Like I came here and it was really a piece of cake. The competition between other people was a piece of cake, and it led to a point where what's it called? My brother, what's it called? Was in the World Cup and he was a top 10 finalist from how easy
Wow.
the competition was, or how
How
our
well
our
prepared you were.
how well prepared we were. Yeah, because in Egypt the what's it called, the competition is very hard because you have a lot of swimmers, you have a lot of different clubs,
Yeah. There's a lot of
and
people here, man.
each club contributes with like what, 100 swimmers,
Mhm.
or like 70, 50, depends, you know.
Yeah.
So you're competing with all these people for like a what, top 10 position, while here it's a little bit less, and
Yeah,
not a
I feel
little
like
bit
over
less,
there,
a
like,
lot less.
yeah, I feel like over there, like, they're not really that interested in swimming.
Yeah, it's like if you play, what's it called? Let's compare two different games, like one really hard and one really easy. Like let's say what,
I don't know. I don't.
Outlast. What's an easier
Outla
game?
What, an easier game than Outlast?
Yeah,
I
or like a
don't
less
know.
traumatizing game.
I don't know.
Cause
Oh Lord, I don't know. A less traumatizing game than Outlast?
let's say Minecraft.
Minecraft. Yeah, yeah. So disagree.
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
going
Minecraft's
from
pretty traumatizing.
Outlast. I know, but like not same level.
Yeah,
Like
it's
like you're
not the
not
same
on your
level. Yeah,
tippy
yeah.
toes when you're playing
It's not.
Outlast, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I get you.
So that's like kind of the difference between being like set up in Egypt and where I am right now.
Hmm.
But like yeah,
But yeah, I think that's it.
nice talk, nice talk,
Yeah, yeah.
Jamie.
No, thank you for pouring your heart out on this very enjoyable podcast.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure, good
Yeah.
sir.
Uh, I hope you guys enjoy the first episode of the Candid podcast. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more to come with me and Mohab. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and hit that nice little red subscribe button. All right, yeah, I'm gonna need you to do that. And yeah, comment if you'd like us to speak about a specific topic, or if you have any suggestions, or any constructive criticism or anything like that, or if you just want to talk